All right, I got you all live over here, and I got a green check. All right, Facebook,
Right.
YouTube, we are really back again. Now, Elizabeth, on your end, can you see us? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can see and hear you just fine.
All right, great. All right, Elizabeth, let's go back into it. Okay, we were last talking about your second mother Lisa and your husband telling you you have to slow down and worry about yourself and take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself you're going to be no good to anyone else. And of course I said you and I can relate because we got to keep going till we can't go no more, which is not good for us. And then you were sharing that you were diagnosed with two sicknesses that causes the problems in your back area where you couldn't even sit up in your hospital bed, let alone your chair. And it was so severe that you weren't even able to have surgery because of the two. Can you please share again about those two, scoliosis and the other one?
Yeah, I have minor scoliosis, but then I also have lordosis, which, um, most people are familiar with what scoliosis is. Lordosis is where the natural arch in your spine is more
Okay.
pronounced than what it should be.
Mm.
So my back curves to the left, but then at the same time it also arches inward. So it's like bending in two different directions at the same time.
Okay, I'm trying to picture this, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's like your back may be going one direction, but it's going in another direction at the same time.
it's curving to the left, but then on top of that, it's also arching inward. So it's pushing in on my internal organs at the same
Organs.
time.
Oh, okay, I got you. Wow. Like, how does that happen? Where does it come from?
I was basically told that it's a side effect of having a disability where you're in a wheelchair your whole life, because you're basically sitting all the time or
Okay.
laying down all the time. Your
Mm-hmm.
spine is constantly in compression. So the compression doesn't uh doesn't allow your spine to stay aligned the way it's supposed to. So
Mm.
then the muscles are compensating for the way that the vertebrae in the back are moving, and it causes the muscles to be tight and also develop scar tissue. So
Okay.
I was basically explained by my last pain management doctor that basically that's what it is the muscles have become weak and develop scar tissue on them, and they have to now determine how to manage that scar tissue. But in the meantime, it's gotten to the point where I've had to go from working 2 days a week in the
Mm-hmm.
office and 2 days a week at home to doing all of my work from home, so that I have the option to get out of my wheelchair and reposition,
Okay.
because I can't really do that when I'm in the office, because it's not like I have the ability to transfer myself
Right.
from my wheelchair to like an office chair or something like that. So I don't have that option. I have to use my lift. So
Mm-hmm.
that means lifting me, having the staff lift me out of my chair. So I spend a lot of time lately in my bed, and it's frustrating because I miss out on a lot of, sorry about that. I
No,
miss
you're
out on
okay.
a lot of activities, going out with my husband and my big brother, because they'll go out to do something in the community, and if it's going to be a more extended uh a more extended time, like an extended number of hours, um then my back can't handle it. Or if I want to, I can't, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times I can't do anything that's spur of the moment. I have to plan it, And if there's
Right.
going to be an activity that we're doing that we're going to be gone and I'm going to be up in my chair for multiple hours, then I have to prepare for it by literally the day before, spending the entire day in the bed just to have my back ready to
Mhm.
handle those multiple hours in my chair. And it's been
Now,
frustrating because I've had these conditions now since I started developing them around 19, 20 years old. I'm 33 now.
okay,
It's
okay.
progressively gotten worse as I've
Worse.
gotten older. And every time that I go to a doctor to get answers or try to get some form of treatment, they tell me, well, there's nothing we can do for you. You're already doing
Mm.
everything that we would tell you to do. So when I went to this last pain management doctor, I told him that I said, I feel like that I'm just being basically dismissed. And in the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, I have to put my life on hold because I can't function because I'm in so much pain.
Pain.
And
Yes.
this guy said, I'm not dismissing you. I want to help you, but unfortunately, the help that you need with my knowledge base, I don't know what else to tell you to do. But he was nice enough to at least refer me to a
Okay.
chronic pain group in Cleveland, and
Okay.
I'm gonna make a consultation appointment with them to see, because it's a multidisciplinary team, if the
Okay.
different doctors from the different disciplines can determine some sort of treatment plan or something to at least try. At
Right.
this point, I've tried everything else. I have nothing else to lose.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Now, that's one thing that I can say. Although the pain management doctor, he's not sure how to treat you. At least one, he's being honest with you. And two, at least he's referring you to maybe other doctors that may can come up with a plan together to help you with your pain. So that's a good thing. At least the doctor, like most doctors do, just push you off to the side like you don't matter. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that was what I was frustrated with because that's what I felt like I've been dealing with when this whole back situation first started. Like when it
Hmm.
first started and it was minor, I was thinking to myself, can't we do some kind of bracing or something to
Right.
prevent it from getting worse? And they're like, no, because we usually do that if the back problem develops when you're still growing. And now that you've stopped growing, bracing isn't really going to stop it from happening or even correct it. So I'm like,
Mm.
okay. So then it just kept getting worse and kept getting worse.
Right.
And
Right.
finally, when it gets to the point where the pain is unbearable and you can't even, for lack of better sense, use your own legs because
Mm.
what you use for your legs is painful to even be in, it's
Right.
frustrating.
Absolutely. I can agree with you 100%. We have Angie Lowe here, and she says, I'm here, sis. Thank you very much, Angie, for tuning in. All right. Thank you. And then we also have Angie stating as well. She shares here, yeah. She says, yeah, it's not fun.
Angie,
Wow.
Angie is my best friend since elementary school, and she also has cerebral palsy.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
she kind of gets the back issues in more ways than one, but she was lucky enough that they caught hers when she was still growing, so they were able to do
A brace.
corrective surgery to fix it. With
Oh,
mine, it's so severe that they're afraid to do that. I had
wow.
a spinal surgeon look at my back and he said he had 20 years of surgical experience, and he was
Mhm.
like, I don't even want to touch your back because I'm afraid I'm going to make it worse if I do.
Really?
Yeah. So when somebody with 20 years of surgical experience tells you that, you're like, oh, I'm bad.
I better leave at least he once again, at least the doctor is honest enough to tell you the truth. We have some that won't be honest, and we have some that say that they can do a surgery and help you, but can also make things worse.
Yeah. So I've been looking recently that at least the recent doctors that I've seen are honest about what they professionally feel they're capable of doing and what they're not.
Right, absolutely. So that's a good thing there. So I just hope and wish that everything goes well with the new pain management doctors and they'll be able to help you be in less pain or no pain at all.
Yes.
Now, Elizabeth, share with us about you advocating for others. One, why is it that it's important to you to advocate to others? And two, what would you want others to do out here that's in the community that do not advocate? What would you like for those that do not advocate for themselves or others to start doing?
Well, it's important to me to advocate for the community as a whole because I realize that we do have community members that are part of our disabled community that they don't have the ability to advocate for themselves, either because they don't have the verbal skills necessary to communicate clearly what they need, or because sadly, a lot of times, unfortunately, unless you present yourself in a certain way, people have this preconceived notion that someone with a disability doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh, yes.
And especially in seeing, knowing that you, for lack of better phrasing, acquired your disability later
Hmm.
in life, it's, I've noticed with a lot of the people that are born with their disabilities, it's a continuous thing that even as a grown adult, someone might come up to you and try talking to you in baby talk
Hmm.
or acting like you're still a child. And a lot of times I don't really have that, but I think it's because I know how to communicate very well and my intellect comes across in the way I communicate. But it's still annoying to watch because like I watch people like um my best friend Angie
Yes.
and even my husband because they both have speech impediments. So their family and their friends are used to it and they adapt to it. But when we're in public, there are
They
some
don't.
people that they just don't want to take the extra time that it takes to understand and comprehend what they're saying.
Right.
And even me, I've been with my husband, we've only been married 3 years, but I've been with him for 10 years.
Wow,
And
congratulations to you both.
thank you. But there's even times that he'll be talking to me and I don't correctly understand him. But at least
Hmm.
if I make a mistake in understanding what he's saying, he'll be like, "What did you think I said?" And I'll tell him what I thought he said, and he'll
Hmm.
just start laughing because it's the most off the wall interpretation. But he knows that I'm not doing it out of a disregard for not wanting to understand him.
Thank him.
He
Yes.
can tell the difference between somebody that's trying to understand him and somebody that's
Just.
pretending like they understood what he said and trying to move on.
Mm,
And he finds it insulting when people just pretend like they understood because he can tell the difference. And
okay.
it's almost, he said people act like that he doesn't know the difference. Like they can act like they understood him, but he can tell by what you're saying in the conversation and how you're responding to him that you didn't really understand what he
What
said.
he was saying. Right. Absolutely. Well, you know what? I think that's good for your husband, Andre, that he's able to cipher the difference between knowing someone that understands him and also knowing someone that may not understand him. Now, I know that has to feel pretty bad for someone to pretend like they know what you're talking about, but in reality don't. And I do get that it may seem like they're pushing to the side, like you don't, what you say doesn't matter. So I know
Right.
that could hurt.
Yeah. I'm trying to broaden the community of disabled individuals out there that have a live stream of some sort to kind of get
Okay.
awareness out there. It's just a casual way to talk about disability related things because I know that people they're afraid of offending, so they're afraid to ask. But I always tell people I would rather you ask me and find out the answer than for you not to ask me and then you encounter someone else like me and you do or say something wrong because you don't know.
Yes, and that can be pretty hard because sometimes, well, I know with me, becoming a wheelchair user, going out into different places and people looking at me, and it's like, wow, why she's in a wheelchair? Why don't you just come up and ask me? Don't point, don't just stare at me like you never seen anything like it before. Just come up and ask. I mean, I've gotten told one time that I didn't look like I had a disability, and I asked, "So, what does a disability look like?" I'm confused. So, you got to have a look in order to have a disability all of a sudden? I was confused and I took offense to it because it's like you got to have a certain look in order to be a part of something. It's very confusing. I didn't know disability had a look, if you ask me. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But on a positive note for me, when I was down in Dayton, I used to do a lot of my grocery shopping because I lived in an on-campus apartment, and there was a Meijer store right across the street from campus. So I used to go there to do my grocery shopping, and I had an experience where this mom and her two little kids, her kids had to be like 5 and 3. And I heard the oldest ask his mom, Mommy, why is she in that thing? And usually, when I hear kids ask their parents that, their parents are shushing them and
Hmm.
pulling them away really fast. And the mom actually caught me off guard because she was like, well, why don't you go ask her?
Right, absolutely.
And this
Bridge that gap.
this little boy come up to me like he knew me his entire life. He introduced himself to me and he said, I have a question. I'm like, okay, what's your question? He said, why you in that thing? I said, because my legs don't work. It's the easiest way to explain to a kid the disability, especially when they're that young. They're not going to
Yes.
understand all that neurological and he turned and looked at me with this alarm on his face and he said, you mean you don't have any bones in them?
Oh.
I said, no, 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 no. I have bones in my legs. They just don't work. So then he went back to his mom and he said, Mommy, she said she's in that thing because her legs don't work. Can we fix them? And I
Oh.
was just like, oh my gosh, this kid. And then a few aisles over, he brought his little sister over and he says, so how does this thing work? So I was explaining to him how my wheelchair works in the middle of the aisle. And there were people walking by us giving the mom and me dirty looks. I'm
Of
like,
course.
why are
Hmm.
you giving them dirty looks? It's an educational moment. If the kid wants to know, I'm gonna answer the question.
Yes, absolutely. And we have Angie Lowe here, and she's saying, just ask questions. Little kids just ask. Laugh out loud. Absolutely right. That's all you have to do is ask, and it won't hurt at all. Just ask.
No, and a lot of people they act like if you ask that question, like it's the most offensive question ever. And I've even heard stories of people in wheelchairs that when somebody asks them or makes a comment acknowledging their wheelchair to make a joke out of it, they'll act shocked like they didn't even notice it before.
It was there.
Yeah, and like, oh my gosh, what happened? And people don't know how to take that. And I find that a sense of humor really helps with that.
Yes.
That's why I'm actually wearing the shirt I'm wearing right now. I'm a big dinosaur fan, but I also joke around and say that I have T-Rex arms because my arms are really short.
Sure. Uh-huh.
So they got me this shirt with a T-Rex on it, and the T-Rex has those grabbers, and it
Okay.
says, "Now I'm unstoppable."
That's right, because he has his reacher and he can reach out to anything and everything. Absolutely. That's right.
So
Absolutely.
all three of us in this house, we each have our own Twitch channel on Twitch where we stream
Okay.
our video games and we talk about our disabilities and stuff, and I found it to be a really cool way of getting people to engage and get them to let their guard down and ask questions that maybe they want to know, but they don't feel like it's awkward because it's not like they're staring right at me the whole time. They're watching me play a game. And
Abs-
it stems from sometimes, well, I see from watching you on the camera that you don't hold the controller like we do. So how do you do this in this game? Or even just me making little comments when I get to certain parts in a game and saying sometimes this type of a game is hard for me to play because, as I say, it's not very palsy friendly. And I make little jokes like that because I want people to be comfortable with it. I don't want anybody to look at me like I'm an alien from outer space just because you're not around it all the time.
Absolutely.
Like Angie said, though, kids seem to be the ones that are more accepting of you as you are, and they're more willing to ask the questions because they don't have a filter. It's the adults that are afraid of offending, and that's why I always say it's more offensive if you're sitting there staring at me not asking than if you just ask me and get it over with.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth, I want to go back for a minute because you graduated from college and you became a social worker. Now, because of graduating from college, and you did share about the things that your parents did for you to help you become more independent with your caregivers and things like that. Now, what would you say to someone that lives with a disability and going off to college now? And what encouragement would you give to them, letting them know that they'll be okay, they'll be fine?
The primary thing that I've found out is just having access to resources and knowing that, especially if you're born with your disability, that it's possible to get caretakers that aren't your family to come in that'll still do a good job. Because a lot of those resources my family didn't find out about until way later in the game. Like I said, I didn't have personal care attendants or anybody outside of my family to help me until I was 16 because we didn't even know that we could get it covered by insurance. That combined with the equipment, and a lot of times, if we're being realistic, high schools, when they're giving you the preparedness for college, what you need, they're going over the generic stuff that every student needs, disability or no disability, the basics. And there's extra things that, as a person with a disability, you have to go through and add to your application, like applying to disability services to get accommodations in order to make completing your college work possible for you. That's a whole separate application from your application to enter the school itself. And
Mm,
unless you know about that, you're not going to know that you have to do that application, that you have to have your doctor fill out medical forms documenting your disability so that they can set things up for you. So it can be frustrating and it can be daunting, and you can feel like this isn't a possibility for me because I have too many needs. I mean, it was something that I had my mind made up on from the get go, and I didn't know how it was going to work. So there were a few times that I had people that were supposed to be helping me tell me things about how it was going to work that I believed until I actually got in the situation and I realized, wait a minute, that's not how this works. I can still do it
mm,
the way I did it at home. I just have to, you know, go to my dorm multiple times a day to meet my aides to reposition or help with my bathrooming needs. I don't have to learn whole new transfers or whole new systems to do this just because they're saying that I'm not going to be able to do it the way that I do it at home. And just the other thing is knowing that it's okay if you drop something or something like that to walk up to somebody on campus that you don't know and asking them for help. Because I know a lot of people that were newly disabled, even that were still getting used to that. They're not comfortable with going up to somebody they don't know and saying, "Hey, I dropped this. Would you mind?" And
Mm.
that's a big thing. But the main thing is getting the resources together, and that's one of the reasons I got into social work. Eventually, down the line, at some point, I don't know when because it's gonna take work because I'm gonna be working while doing it. But I
Okay.
want to go back to school and get my master's degree so
Okay.
then I can get my license for independent practice, which would then allow me to open my own agency. And I want to open some type of agency or organization that's going to work with high school kids with disabilities that want to go to college, but they don't know how to navigate their disability in college. And their families don't know how to
I'm
navigate
not.
it, and maybe don't know that there's care staff available or what other resources are available. That way they can get the basic college readiness stuff from their high school, but when it comes to the extra, like applying for the disability services and the accommodations they're going to need in college, and even navigating the process to set up and hire personal care assistants, they've got somebody that's been through the process already that can
Yes.
guide them through it. That is one of the things that I've set my heart on eventually doing some point down the line. I don't know officially what it would look like or how long it's going to take, but it's somewhere in the pipeline that's what I'm eventually going for.
And I'm here to back you up 100%, Elizabeth. You can do it and you're going to get the job done because it is needed in the community, especially for those that are in high school and maybe their family don't know about the different resources, but you've been through it and you know how to do the transfer from high school to college. And it is very much needed out here in the community. And we have some guests down here. We have here my cousin Karina, and she says, hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Karina.
Karina. Thank you very much for watching us. And then we also have Autumn, and she sends us our heart face emojis. Hello, Autumn. Thank you very much for joining us. Autumn also has down here, oh, Karina, she also sends us hearts as well. Thank you all for all the hearts and all the love. And then we also have down here, let's see, Karina is saying, amen to you opening up your own agency so you could be able to help the high school children go off to college. I agree with that one. And then we also have here Autumn again. And Autumn says, hello, beautiful ladies. Hello, Autumn. Thank you very
Hi,
much.
Mama Autumn.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, now before we end, I have something else I want to ask you about. You shared in your biography about this advocacy, you being an advocate for those. What are your plans in that department of advocating for others?
Um, Obviously, I already said about eventually down the line starting the agency and helping with that. I also have in the past worked as a mentor for uh, younger students with disabilities, kind of helping them navigate the upper grades. And even when I was in high school, I did that as well. I want to be somebody that people can reach out to, whether they've been born with their disability or whether it comes upon them later in life, if they need help finding resources, if they just need somebody to be a listening ear. That's the kind of person that I want to be for them. But I also want to be more involved in my community because I am in certain ways with my work in that. But then when it comes to strictly the disabled community, I'm not really, other than the few that I interact with on a regular basis because I've known them for years, and people that I've met through doing the Miss Wheelchair thing, I'm really kind of new out there. So I'm wanting to put a voice out there, to have a platform to or be a sounding board for people to go to if they're in a situation and they're like, I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
Even if they're in a different state than me and I may not know the requirements that that state has for a given situation, I could at a minimum at least explain what I have experience with and give them ideas. I want to be able to give other people the tools that I have so they don't have to be afraid to advocate for themselves, because I think a lot of times people, they get frustrated because they've been trying to advocate for so long and they're not being listened to, or they're afraid to say something because they think they're not going to be listened to because they hear the stories of other people that haven't been listened to. So that's my main thing. Like I said, I'm doing the Twitch channel, trying to get out there. I'm also doing a blog right now, um, called Wheels Without Limits,
Mm.
that I just write about different things about my life or different situations that maybe frustrate me, to really encourage people to, that you gotta, when you believe in something and you believe that you're going in the right direction, sometimes you have to dig your heels in and just be like, you can sit here and argue with me, but I'm not going anywhere. Because
That's
that's
right.
what they want us to do. They want us to go somewhere and be quiet and sit down and don't rock the boat. But if we don't rock the boat, nothing's going to change.
That's right. That's right, Elizabeth. I truly agree with you 100%. Now, Elizabeth, before I let you go, what is something that encouragement you have for others? What do you want to share with them before I let you go?
The biggest thing I said it at the beginning of the conversation, but I'm gonna say it again. Remember that the only true limits you have are the limits that you put on yourself. If you look at every situation you go into as there's a way for me to do it, it might not be the way everybody else does it, but there's a way for me to do it, then there's no reason to limit yourself and say that you can't. There are going to be times, obviously, within reason, where it's not a good idea for you to try to do something. Obviously, I'm not encouraging electric wheelchair users to go skydiving or anything crazy like
Yes.
that, because that's not safe. But don't let what other people think you're capable of or assume you're capable of determine what you actually are capable of, because at the end of the day, the only person that can determine that is you.
Absolutely right. And as Autumn says here, she says, yes, rock that boat. Absolutely right. And also, we have here Jerry, and Jerry says, a very proud mama. Is that your mom?
Yes, that's my mom.
Well, Miss J, I have to let you know you did an amazing job, and I love the story that Elizabeth shared about you all dropping her off at college and letting her know that she is able to speak for herself and teach her caregivers how to, care for her. And I want to say thank you very much, Miss Jerry, for showing Elizabeth that she can be independent and she can do it. Now, okay, Angie, she says here, see you next Saturday, sissy. Love you.
Yeah, we're planning on getting together next Saturday.
Okay, awesome. Now, before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can see you. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Elizabeth Schrack dash Summers. I'm sorry, I almost said the wrong last name. And also, you can find me on my Twitch channel. It's Lone Wolf 2216. I try to stream at least. I try to do it every day, but I'm not that good. But I do. If you follow me and you click the notifications, you'll be let know when I go live on there. And you can also check out the Wheels Without Limits blog. Unfortunately, I can't remember the link right off hand, but I will get those links and I'll send them to you so you can add them underneath the video on the YouTube then.
Absolutely. I'll add it to the description below. And before I let you go, I have to show you what Miss Jerry said here. She said, I cried all the way to our car. Oh, well, you did an amazing job, Miss Jerry. You did an amazing job. But I want to tell you, Elizabeth, thank you very much for being a part of the show. Continue to advocate and help others that need it the most. I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. And although we had technical difficulties, both shows will be up tomorrow on YouTube. Life of Sunshine on Wheels with a Z, not an S, and you'll be able to watch the replay there. So, Elizabeth, I want to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, you are most welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, and you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Miss Jerry.